What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of All Things Super. I am one of your hosts,
That's
Spider.
the funny part right there.
I am joined by Mr. VIP Frankie Washington. How are you doing today, sir?
I am awesome. Thank you for asking.
You're gonna ask me how I am? Wow.
Oh,
You know what?
oh,
Just
did
moving
I
on.
not?
Moving
Did I not?
on. No, you did not. You did not.
I apologize.
This is
How are you,
already
sir?
off to a great start. I mean, I
This
was doing great, but now I just feel like completely
You're
disrespected.
doing even better now.
No,
Even better now.
far from
This
it.
is listen. Here's a prediction. This is going to be our most highly viewed show. I'm throwing
Okay.
this out there. It might even surpass the great one at the top right now. I have the feeling. So with that being said, I'm gonna let you finish your prologue, your intro, and I'm gonna get into the details of why.
Okay.
Okay.
Joining us this week, we have a very special guest. Michelle is joining us again. How are you doing, Michelle?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Thank you. I'm doing very well.
Michelle,
Thank you.
don't ask him those type of questions. Haven't you seen Rick and Morty? He's not the Spider we know.
I actually haven't seen Rick and
She
Morty,
actually
so
has not watched Rick and Morty.
Oh, my heart. How could you not watch Rick and Morty? Hey, you saw the trailer?
because yeah, I don't know. I couldn't tell you why.
But she doesn't have Adult Swim.
That
Oh, so it's that. Okay, so when you get a chance, if ever, it's
I
a
have it.
highly
We have a list of things that both I haven't seen that she's seen that she said that I should have seen, and I have things that she hasn't seen that I say that she should have seen, and we're working our way through the list. Rick and Morty is on the list, but we'll get to it.
What number is it on the list?
Oh, it's not in chronological order. It's just
Oh,
whenever we talk about it, I'm like, you haven't seen it? All right, add it to the list, and that's just the way that's the order that things are.
you're definitely trying to keep chaos down. That was a very smart
Right.
answer.
I am not about to rank. I'm not about to rank Rick and Morty against Matrix, against Indiana Jones, against Back to the Future. It's
Oh my
it's a
God,
lot. It's a lot of stuff.
that's the list.
That's part
That's
of
a
the
cool
list.
list. That's a cool list.
But that's not what we're here for. We're not here to talk about the list of things that we haven't seen. We're here to talk about something that we have seen, which is Thor Love and Thunder. But if you don't know, if you're not familiar with All Things Super, every week we take a piece of super powered, action powered movie, film, TV, even trailers. We watch it, we review it, we break it down, we recap it, and we bring all that information to you. If you like that, go ahead, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you can be notified when a new video comes out. You can find us on all or most audio podcast streaming services. And if you want to reach out to us and join the conversation, you can tweet at us at ATSuperPod. But going into this episode, before we even start talking about it, Mr. VIP Frankie Washington, you had something that you wanted to say. You said that this is going to be our most highly viewed video, and you had some reasons
did.
why.
Oh
And
yeah,
why is that?
because I think like all Marvel fans, we were going into this for connection of the overall MCU. I mean, you had an opportunity to do it in one of your other title flagship movies, which was Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Well, maybe it is a multitude. Go watch our Doctor Strange breakdown. Anyway, but we were looking for the overall narrative. Now, it's not to say that they haven't given us the overall narrative. If you watch locally, we kind of have an idea of exactly what's going to happen. But we haven't seen that since Loki. And we don't have anything on the other side saying what's going on with the main story. There's like so many unanswered questions that your universe, and we talked about this before, Spider, that your universe is so stretched out now with the introduction of these new characters, and you want us to care about these new characters, but we really haven't had time with these new characters, or really haven't felt the depth of these new characters to bring them all in an ensemble at the end. When we're not as emotionally invested as you may think that we are. And when these characters die, because again, they're the Avengers, we're not going to really. How many people are going to hang on for so long before they feel disconnected? Because if you didn't get Disney Plus, exactly how Michelle was saying, some people don't have those other platforms. So last time you seen Wanda, if you saw her on the screen, you saw a killer vision, right? And Endgame, and you didn't watch WandaVision. Yeah, that's all you got. You don't know nothing about Westview, and now you just see her in Doctor Strange. You're like, whoa,
it's a big
whoa.
Disconnect between her at the end of Endgame, well, her in Endgame to Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness. That is a huge disconnect.
You have Thor, Love and Thunder, and for the average moviegoer that's going with your kids, going because your kids are saying, I want to go see Thor, I want to go see Thor, you're going with your kids, what the hell are you watching? You know, it's not as an enjoyable aesthetic for you because last time you saw this character, this happened, and oh, she's bad now. What happened? Oh, she wanted kids. Yeah, Dad, you missed it. You didn't watch one. See, I told you to watch WandaVision. It's like, thanks, Disney. Thanks for that. And you have to just live with that because you don't have the time to watch these Disney Plus shows because we're all busy working. As they are, as anybody in the entertainment industry, I am not going to defecate on this movie, but we do keep it 100% real over here. And story-wise is our DNA, as we said many a times. And I'm just going to say, people are going to want to know the truth about Thor, Love and Thunder. If not, they want to hear us talk about it. And we are here for both. That's it. That's what I think it's going to be. You see this chair?
Okay. Going off of that, so yes, we are here to talk about Thor Love and Thunder. Of course, it is a brand new MCU movie that just came out. So we're going to lead in. We're going to give our general thoughts on the movie, spoiler free. But then after we give our general thoughts on the movie, just why are you so surprised? We do this every single time. After we give our general thoughts on the movie,
this is my spoiler right here. I'm gonna put my hand up and say what I want to say.
That does nothing for audio listeners. Audio listeners can't see your hand.
You're right. I love my audio listeners.
We'll give our general thoughts on the movie, and then we'll get into full spoilers. So we will warn you, of course. We will let you know when we get into spoiler territory. But general thoughts on Thor: Love and Thunder. Michelle, I'll start with you. What did you think about? First? Because you're the guest. You're the guest.
That's how that goes.
So no spoilers. What did you think about Thor: Love and Thunder?
Oh, shit. It was really good. It was a night. It's been a minute since. I feel like it's been forever since there's been a Marvel movie in theaters, which I know it hasn't been that long, but I don't know. I've never been a big fan of the Thor. Like, Thor's never been my favorite Avenger, but this movie kind of made me fall in love with the Thor franchise even more. And Valkyrie is bae. And yeah. You said no spoilers. It's hard.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
It's a good movie. Go see it. That is my general opinion.
All right, Mr. VIP, Frankie Washington, what are your thoughts on Thor: Love and Thunder?
Don't do it to me.
Can you give a general consensus without going into spoilers?
A lot of people worked hard on this movie.
Okay.
There you
go. All right. Okay. I'm of the same vein. I thought it was a really good movie. I do have some gripes. But overall, I feel like it was a really good showing for Thor. I love the story. The story I felt was told pretty well. There were some things that I feel like could have been done differently that might have enhanced the entire story. But overall, it was really enjoyable. A lot of laughs, a lot of funny moments. And it had heart. And I know, like Mr. VIP Frankie Washington said, we always talk about, if you have a good story and your story is well written, well paced throughout the entire film, then you have a good movie. And Thor Love and Thunder, it leads into that. It leads into that. So, like Michelle said, it's a good movie. Go see it. Absolutely. Right now, it's the number one movie in the world, which who didn't think it was going to be the number one movie in the world? It's a MCU movie. It's opening weekend. It's the summertime, so everybody's going to run to the movies. So
it has Chris's butt in it.
It does have Chris Hemsworth's butt in the movie.
That's $1 billion right there. It's $1 billion.
Pretty much.
That's not a flex. It's like that butt brought in a bill. Which your little character could do? Okay. Talk about being committed to the craft, right?
Sure. But so go see the movie. Go see the movie. So now we're going to get into spoilers. So if you want,
hey, wait a minute.
Yes.
Now there's an ass debate since Chris said, that's America's ass, and now you got the $1 billion booty over there at Hemsworth's house.
Uh-huh.
But is Marvel going to get into showing the cheeks? Is this a cheek game? It's getting kind of cheeky out here. It's getting cheeky. Buns of steel. That's what I'm just telling you. It's going to be a requirement. You're going to hear about these actors getting into shape and start working out them glutes. All right,
Maybe.
Marvel.
I don't know. I don't know. I didn't think that's the way that was going to go, but you got a point. I don't know. They've been making mention of it, so I don't know. Will we see a trend of bare ass in Marvel movies? And yet to be determined.
I hope not. I don't need to.
All right, but spoiler warning: we are going to dive.
Disney.
This is Disney. Disney. Do you know how many times that shit in this movie?
How many decapitations do we need?
I don't know. But regardless, we're getting full spoilers. We're getting full spoilers. We're going to talk about the movie at length. We're going to talk about our feelings, what we like, what we didn't like. So this is your spoiler warning. We're not using a hand.
This is why I use a hand.
So if you have not seen Thor Love and Thunder, you want to check it out, you don't want to be spoiled, we're letting you know. Full spoiler warning. We're going into it. So go watch the movie. There you go. There's your spoiler alert horn. Go watch the movie. Come back.
Sounds horrible. It sounds bad. It sounds sick. It used to sound awesome.
It still does its job though. It does its job.
You need to get a button for your stream deck. That's like the alarm to go off.
You don't have the budget for that.
You have a stream deck.
I know I have a stream deck, but I'm saying Mr. VIP Frankie Washington is the one that gives off the spoiler alarm. I'm not going to take that from him. But see, now you're talking about robots taking our jobs. She wants me to automate the process. She wants me to take the spoiler warning away from you.
Hashtag.
I'm just going to be quiet then.
Am I a hashtag now?
Not the hashtag. Oh, God. All right. Okay, Thor Love and Thunder. Let's talk about what we liked about the movie, because I don't want to just go. You know what? Let's talk about what we didn't like. If there was anything that you didn't like, because I feel like there are just a few minor things, or at least for me personally, that I didn't like about the movie. But they are far outweighed by the things that I did like about the movie.
Well, go ahead and share that opinion of yours. Not the number one movie. Not the number one movie in the world right now. You got some dislikes.
Yeah, I got a few dislikes. One
got a couple of gripes. Go ahead.
Just a couple gripes. No, one of the things that I didn't like, Gore, Christian Bale, performed phenomenally. When I tell you that this comedy movie, because Thor Love and Thunder is straight up a comedy movie, had these elements of horror pulled into the movie by Christian Bale's portrayal of Gore the God Butcher, the way he would slink in and just his mannerisms and his characteristics, I thought were performed beautifully. What I didn't really care for was the fact that his legacy or his notoriety as the God Butcher was encapsulated by just video clips on a screen. And that's how we were supposed to, that's how we were introduced as to how big of a threat that he was. Where we get onto the Guardian ship and it's like 400 something distress calls. And there are all these people talking about, oh, our God has been slaughtered. We need help. We need help. We need help. But I feel like it was something that was glanced over so quickly that we didn't really get to understand the full gravity or the brutality that Gore was going around the universe, the entire universe, and killing all these gods. Like, one of the biggest images that we saw throughout the trailer was this huge god that was like in the snow area that got killed, and that's taken directly from the comics. And I just feel like if we could have gotten 1 or 2 scenes of Gore actually like flashing back into, like, going between Thor, like trying to find himself, he's with the Guardians, and he's trying, like, say for example, he's meditating while he's living this life of calm and serene peace, then like hard cut to Gore going through the universe and killing these gods, so we can like see like this is a real emergency that's happening. And then we go back to like Thor's kind of dealing with his own issues, and then he finds out that there's something that's bigger than him. Like, I'm trying to figure out who I am, but part of what my purpose is I am a god. I'm supposed to protect my people. All of these other gods have not been doing that, and that's what has lent into Gore's sense for revenge, because his prayers went unanswered. So I just think that if they would have included something like that, just to kind of show us how Gore was going around and just like how big of a threat that he was, because they just basically said when Thor found Sif, like, there's this madman, this brutal man, the God Butcher, he's going around killing all these gods. Asgard is next. And it's like, well, who did he go through? Who did he kill? Like, just something leading up to it. I thought it would have been a little bit better. I feel like it would have made Gore an even better villain, just to be able to see. You know, we saw him kill the one god when he got the Necrosword, and then the very next, we don't even get to see him kill another god after that. So literally, it shows on screen that yes, he killed a bunch of gods, but we only get to see him kill one.
That's called lazy writing. That's what that is. And you're absolutely right. It would have been a whole different direction and would have given the movie a whole different weight to it, to explain these things, even visually, narratively, than that, what we got. Because we don't even know those gods. We don't even know what they do. Why do we really care? You know? Okay, Thor knows them, so because Thor knows them, we should know them. Did he know all of them? He really didn't talk about any of the other ones, but when he got to Zeus's house, he talked about those guys. Mm-hmm. I guess that's a setup for the next movie, but that's the next movie. Why do we care in this movie? So I agree with you. It's like, I know the stakes is the children, but here's my thing. Mm-hmm. Thor's 1,500 years old, right? Give or take.
Give or take, yeah.
Yeah. That's what he proclaimed in Endgame. He's 1,500. So how long does it take you to find yourself? I mean, we all know Thor had adventures. He was out there. He said he got it on with the Wolf Lady and the other alien, but Jane was the one that, you know, he couldn't get over.
Right.
Interesting. And then so they gave you that little area of time that we didn't know happened, and they kind of just grew apart because Thor was taking missions and she was kicking ass, winning all kind of prizes and stuff. Mm-hmm. You would think with a god, your storyline would have been better.
Yeah, because it's what? He's 1,500 years old, and then in the last, because the first Thor came out in 2000 and 2010, I think 2010, 2012, something like that. So over the last 15 years, close to it, he was lost because, well, I say from Thor: The Dark World, because I guess Thor: The Dark World is kind of when they started growing apart after that. Because they had Thor: The Dark World, and they had Avengers: Age of Ultron, and then in the Age of Ultron, that's when we found out that Thor and Jane had broken up. So between that time and now, it's just, I don't know. And I'm guessing, and this is me projecting and putting my own understanding into it, that because up until the first Thor movie, Thor was never not Thor. Because we see in the first Thor movie, he was arrogant, he was cocky, he was like, I'm an Asgardian, I am all powerful, I am almighty, I can go into any battle, I can win, no problem. And it wasn't until Odin knocked some humility into him and kicked him out of Asgard, took away all his powers, that he got humbled.
Humbled himself.
Yeah, he humbled himself, and then that's when he found Jane, and he saw that Jane saw the humanity in him, even though he wasn't human. And I think that's probably a different kind of love. It's like you have somebody who's like been rich all their life, right? They've been living in money, they're wealthy. Then of course you kind of have that feeling in the back of your head. If anybody like is attracted to me or wants to be around me, do they really want to be around me, or do they want to be around my money? Then you lose all of that money. Then you see everything is taken away from you. But now if you have somebody that approaches you, who sees you, who's attracted to you, who wants to be with you, it's like, okay, well, they really want to be with me for me. So I think that love that he has for Jane is different than any other woman or any other relationship that he's been in, because he met Jane when he was at his most vulnerable, because that's when he said, you met me when I was not worthy. You made me worthy. Right. So it's like a different kind of love. It's a different kind of like, and then so he lost Jane. He and Jane broke up, and then he had the whole crisis of dealing with him failing, because again, he's so used to winning. He lost his mom, he lost his dad, he lost his hammer, he lost Asgard, he lost Loki, he lost Heimdall, we lost Michelle real quick.
That
my computer glitched out, sorry.
it was a perfect time, perfect comedic timing. But yeah, so it's a lot of loss that he's dealing with in a short span of time. Like I said, it's 1,500 years that you're alive, and then in the past 10, all of this is taken away from you. And then it's like,
and he has the right to like grieve. I think he hasn't had time to grieve.
No, when
he did start grieving, he picked up weight, and then everybody fat shamed him. So thanks, world. But now that he's hot again, $1 billion cheeks is on the line. Anyway, listen. This is Thor. This is Tiger. A lot of people worked hard on this.
Mm-hmm.
I think what you just described, even the relationship that Jane and Thor had, I would have rather saw that than kind of what we got, because a lot of these beats were rushed, and you're just moving along.
Right.
I think Christian Bale killed this role all the way.
I really feel like he was channeling his inner Heath Ledger as Joker. I felt like some of his mannerisms were very similar to Heath Ledger's Joker. I don't know. It might just be
this dude was frightening. The way he emerged from the shadows. This reminded me of when they did X2. And they had Nightcrawler in the wall. Mm-hmm. It felt like the redemption of that, because like we all could see Nightcrawler standing there, and then he just walked forward.
Right.
Like
he was just waiting for his cue.
I feel like this is the redemption of that because he was very cleverly brought into frame,
Hmm.
like emerging from the shadows, and he lives in the shadow world. And I know there was some copyright things that they couldn't do with the Necro Sword and
Right.
Sony, and so I understand you can only work within your limitations, but at the same time,
I think that's the variation of it, just like making it a shadow weapon instead of like a symbiote weapon. I think they handled that
I'm
pretty
here
well.
for it. I'm here for it. But like you said earlier, I would have loved to see him desecrate some gods. Couple
Yeah.
fight scenes, couple guys that's of importance, couple guys of I knew you were coming. They already told me you were coming. You get stopped here, and like have that
Yeah.
be a leading thing. Give me more time with this. It felt
Right.
super rushed.
Mm-hmm.
It felt super,
Because
super rushed.
we see that these gods are like, of course, completely arrogant. Like we saw with Zeus. Zeus, like, yeah, I am scared, but I'm not going to show that I'm scared. I'm going to project this air of superiority to everybody. And so these gods, like the first,
Assholery.
yeah, the air of assholery. The first god that he killed was like, your purpose is to die for us. There's no, like salvation. There's no great reward. Like these gods have no pity for these people, and to see Gore go up to a god and like you said, yeah, they told me you were coming. I want to stop you because you're not better than me. And that's what the way these gods will feel. And then to see Gore absolutely annihilate them, that shows
Kill
us
the shit out of him.
that would show us like, shit, this dude is the real deal. Like this is a serious thing. Because the thing about it is the first time he killed him, he got the sword by chance because the sword called out to him. And the god, of course, because of his arrogance, put himself in a vulnerable state because he was completely unaware that Gore had the sword. And so that's how he got killed. But if you take a god who knows that Gore is coming, who knows that he has the Necro sword, and still has this, like, I don't care what you have, I'm a god, you can't kill me, and still get annihilated, that,
And have that
like,
sword be the game changer,
right,
putting emphasis on the sword and the seriousness of it.
that puts some weight into Gore. It's like, okay, well, this dude is a real threat. Now, if he's coming to Asgard, then he's going to kill Thor. We love Thor. Now we have a reason to be afraid. But I feel like it was a missed opportunity.
Don't shoot holes in this movie. Is it bulletproof like Thor?
No, no, none of these movies are bulletproof.
This is why people come here. Listen, I love Tessa Thompson in this movie. She looked amazing.
Yes.
She brought it. She killed it. Here's the issue. Tessa Thompson is such a talent. Y'all had nothing for her to do in this movie. If you take her out, if you take her out, the movie still continues.
No, I disagree.
She brings no weight to the movie.
She fought. She had the damn thunderbolt.
They turned around and gave the thunderbolt right to Thor. So
She still fought with it though, and she was leading New Asgard.
If you take her out of the movie, she didn't even show up at the last battle.
She was injured.
Here's the thing. Rewind it. We were talking about Valhalla so much. She wants to die a warrior's death in battle. That's the reason that she leaves. She's bored with the politics in Asgard. So she goes on the adventure with the credentials of maybe I can die and go to Valhalla and die in battle. Clearly, Lady Sif didn't have that honor. Well, her arm maybe did. Her arm.
That's another thing that I hate about. I'll let you finish.
I want to see them give her the metal arm, because if she can't get a metal arm and Bucky has a metal arm, something that's sexist. That's sexist, Marvel, and I'm calling you on your sexist shit. Okay?
Oh my god.
So she should have something nice. Don't give her no little prosthetic nonsense.
What is it about the? Well, hold on. Before you move past that, what is it about the left arm getting cut off? Because
they've been cutting out arms off in Star Wars, man.
Bucky's got his left arm cut off. Ulysses Claw had his left arm cut off. Misty Knight in the Iron Fist, Luke Cage, the black woman, the cop, from the Netflix Marvel shows. Her left arm got cut off. Sif got her left arm cut off. What is it? Marvel, Disney, I'm talking to you as a left-handed person. I am offended, and I think that it is absolutely fucked up that you're cutting off these people's left hand. Left hands are important too, okay?
But if these people are right-handed, then it makes sense to cut off their left hand.
What if they were left-handed? We don't know that they were right-handed. There are a lot of left-handed people in the world.
I know there's a lot of left-handed people, but I'm assuming that they're cutting left hands off because they're right-handed.
Shout out lefties. Okay. I think it's an homage to Star Wars and everything that came from Star Wars inspiration since Luke got his left hand cut off.
Maybe.
I don't know. But yeah, it is something that we go back to. And why do we have so many decapitations now? Is this a Disney movie?
I mean, because it seems that apparently the only way that the only way to kill a god is to decapitate them, because we saw Zeus get impaled straight through the damn chest, like right where his heart would be, with Thunderbolt, which is a godly weapon, which I would think would kill a god, but apparently that's not enough. So I guess the only way you can kill a god is to decapitate them, unless they die of natural causes. But then the thing, wasn't Frigga a goddess, or was she just a witch? I think she might have just been a witch.
Why she? Okay, so we're gonna go that far into semantics. If Frigga turned into dust when she was about to go off the waterfall in Asgard, because they shot the arrows like a Viking wedding, right? Does that mean she was alive all that time? Because we've clearly seen when these guys died, they turned into gold.
Right.
So she didn't turn to gold until. Is she alive?
I don't know. I hope not.
Just throw that out there.
That's a great point. Wait, I have no clue.
I'm out of here. Listen, I'm going to say this about the great Tessa Thompson again. She killed this role. She looked amazing. She felt like the third wheel because, she was tagging along and I'm back.
She kind of was when they were on the ship.
Yeah, exactly. So they didn't realize her
were chilling.
I would have even want to see her stay back in Asgard and have the threat on Asgard come and she hold the Hort down there and still sustain her injury as she sustained her injury, but be more of a defender for her people because that's the role that she's in. Clearly, the Asgardians feel like when the ladies say half our troops are always gone. Oh. Get it?
I think Diggle did that.
Okay. Well, apparently Diggle snapped their paw.
Diggle's pressing buttons.
So half the life is already gone, and I was just looking at, man, Hela came through, killed a bunch of them.
Right.
Then Thanos came through, killed a bunch of them, half of them. And
half
then
our soldiers are dead. Half our soldiers are always dead.
Yep.
And then the snap happened, and then 50% of that was gone. I'm like, man, it is not good to be Asgardian.
If that happened, that's kind of unfair because Thanos already killed half their people, and then if he snapped, and if another half was taken away, that's a little bit unfair to the Asgardians.
They were on the Earth, so yeah, they got snapped. He didn't backlog and say, oh, by the way, I did these, so you don't have to do those. He did. What's here? Boom, you're done. Especially since he had an axe in his chest. I don't think he was thinking that far.
He's like, let me snap away half of all existence in the universe, except for the Asgardians, since I already took care of them. Yeah, I don't think he made that caveat in his mind when he snapped.
So it's not good to be an Asgardian. Well, I think he had a lot on his mind. So if he was able to do that, he is a mad titan. I'll say that. Because I'm thinking this dude is serious. Like, he's going to stab me in my chest. Did we go for the head because the MCU said we could? Because
I mean,
Remember, Endgame came out, and it was like you should have went for the head. I mean, even Thanos said it, right?
yeah, he said it in Infinity War, so they started with Endgame. It was
Is
like,
that why
what
we
did you
having
do? I
so
went for
many
the head.
decapitations now?
Maybe.
Possibly.
A lot of decapitations in this movie.
Hmm.
Christian Bale ones was the funniest because he was
Oh, with
like,
the
"You
little
were cool
snake
with it
thing.
a
It's
second
like,
ago."
Oh my god.
see, that's the
can
thing. I was
see.
like,
You
this
was telling the
dude
story.
is
Christian Bale killed
brutal, is
it.
ruthless. He was like, well, I thought you liked it. You were fine with it a second ago.
You were, a second
Like,
ago.
and then the way he threw it at him.
Yeah. It's like this guy likes being decapitated. Well, you liked the idea a second ago.
Oh my god.
Just to kids. Just evil.
And I don't know if those were the
Killed it.
kids' actual screams or if they took like
I'm
some
sure
some
it
audio
were.
that they ADR'd into it. But those screams were like perfect in the way that they were like trying to get away from it.
I'm sure they probably did something at the kids that imitated that. Like they made it feel like an animatronic or something that the kids that imitated like the squirminess of it. So it might have been real screams from them.
Probably so.
Oh, yeah.
Because I knew I was saying like that the kids created the monster. So I wonder if the kids created that like look and thing of it, and then.
Now we talked
know.
about this. We talked about this when the trailer drops Friday. I know you remember because you were there.
Mhm.
And we said how amazing Natalie Portman looked in her the Mighty Thor uniform.
Right.
Still killed. Still look amazing. What did you think about the storyline of the adaptation of the, Mighty Jane storyline in the story?
I feel like they did it. I like the way that they did it. I like the way that they introduced. I know it, and we talk about how things were kind of just rushed and very abrupt. I know that the introduction or the explanation of her having cancer was pretty quick. It was like, boom, she has cancer. Like she's
Like
back
already
in the
stage
movie.
4 everything.
Right.
Well, they paid that off. They said it was a line of cancer because her mom had cancer. So
Right.
no Infinity Stone gave her cancer.
Right.
They did kind of confirm that, even
Right.
though there was a lot of speculation. I even plead
And
guilty
honestly,
of saying
I
it myself.
wouldn't have been
I think
upset
it was
with
a
it
missed
if
opportunity.
I wouldn't have been upset with it if they realized. But I'm wondering if normal human doctors, if they would have been able to understand that the reality stone is what caused, because pretty much no real humans really had any kind of interaction with the Infinity Stone. So would they have really known that, oh, because you were infected with this Infinity Stone and was in your body, that's why your body developed this cancer? I don't think they would have been able to explain how regular doctors or regular medical machinery would have understood that.
Could Thor have? Could there have been a healing waters of Concaucus somewhere that can have purified her cancer?
I don't know.
Not quite adapting the storyline,
Mm-hmm.
but again, you want us invested in this couple, but then you turn around and you kill Jane off. Van Halla to damn. I understand you're gonna bring her back, but we didn't have to lose her at all. We could have taken this journey since Thor goes on adventures. He's now going on the adventure to cure the cancer from the love of his life because she met him at his lowest and have him. She's the only thing that he has left. Brother died, mother died, father died, sister that you didn't even know died. Tried to kill you. Throw that in there. Your best friend died. Your Avenger friends are dead. Dude, I understand you're going through a lot. So you see Jane, that's one anchor of something of comfort that you can grasp onto. But now she's dying. The adventuress says, no, not you. I am not going to allow, because I'm 1,500 years old and I know about the liquid waters of somebody. Oh, by the way, this guy is killing gods. What? Yeah, we need help. Sith, bam, got you. Sith is in danger. Jane is dying. Oh, but when she has Mjolnir, she doesn't have to worry about the cancer because we really didn't get an explanation of what's stopping her from just staying the Mighty Thor. She just there's no explanation on how she's in and out. She can clearly
Because
call it what she
no, because they're
wants
saying how
and
the
then
hammer
fly
is
away.
sucking. No, because the hammer is sucking the energy out of her, so she can't hold on to it for that long.
That's
So
why,
that's why she's always in and
progressively
out,
getting
and that's why
weaker.
she gets weaker afterwards too.
I missed that part, and
Yeah.
I'll be just saying.
Because the doctor was saying when they got back from the shadow realm or whatever they called it, they got her to the infirmary. The doctor told Thor, the doctor said that something is prohibiting her body from fighting off the cancer cells. And so Thor understood that that's why he said every time you pick up that damn hammer, it's stopping you, it's sucking your mortal energy, and it's making you sicker. And so he said, if you pick up the damn hammer one more time, it's going to kill you.
Keep that, but make that the leading factor of I don't want you to die, and this guy is killing gods.
And I mean, they
so
say
now
that
it's more
though.
of a love story.
But then, so here's the thing. So this was Jane's motivation, and I understand it. Thor was basically saying it's your choice, which I'm glad they put that in the movie because that's very important.
Course.
Yeah. But he said it's your choice.
Thanks, Zetos. Okay.
He said it's your choice. Work. Oh my God. He said it's your choice, but saying. I would eternally regret if I didn't ask you not to become the Mighty Thor again. And to Jane's credit, her response is when I become the Mighty Thor, I am helping people. I am saving lives, which is always what I wanted to set out to do. And if I don't do that, if I'm staying in this frail body, this frail form, what am I preserving myself for? What am I grasping more time for? Is it just more time, to be in hospitals, to get tested on, and all this other kind of stuff?
Then give me that. Give me the backstory that she was the Mighty Thor for a little bit. Give me some flirtation going.
I do want that.
Give me some flirtation going on with Tessa Thompson. And leading up to it, this could possibly be because I came here, I got the hammer here, so clearly they have security. So that scene that they cut out when she actually got the powers, and she could have came down and came amongst the guards. They're like, "Whoa, I'm not here for that." And then Tessa Thompson comes in and understands that you're worthy. You picked up the hammer. Start talking to you about what's going on. I feel like that's the movie that we didn't get. There's a lot of world building and dialogue that we should have been privileged to. What does New Asgard look like? We only got like a wide view. They now have cruise ships. They now have shows and plays. I would like to have seen a lot of that.
Very commercialized. Everything is very touristy. Yeah.
Now we're doing the Old Spice commercial.
Right.
And they played it on the flute.
and no, I agree with that. And that's another, that's like, that's another gripe that I have about just like with not having any scenes about Gore actually killing gods. We come into this scene where they're having this fight in New Asgard. Thor shows up, Valkyrie's fighting, and they see lightning off in the distance. And Thor's like, "Who's the new guy?" And Valkyrie's like, "Oh, that guy. You're gonna love that guy." And so obviously there's already been
does that mean Jane
established
identified as a guy?
No, I don't. I think that was just Valkyrie
I mean,
going off.
Pronouns are important.
Pronouns are important, but I don't believe. I don't think that that's what they were looking. They weren't going that deep into it. But that shows that there's already been a relationship that's been established between the Mighty Thor and Valkyrie, and we had the conversation that when Jane flew off to go fight Gore. Well, if there's lacking color, let's bring the rainbow. And she shoots off, and Thor's like, "Bring the rainbow." Is there some kind of catchphrase? And Valkyrie was like, she's not great with it. So obviously she's been the Mighty Thor for at least some period of time to where they've established this friendship, they've established this relationship. Valkyrie already knows that Jane has cancer, as we saw when they're about to leave, that Valkyrie went to check on her. If this movie was an hour and 59 minutes long, much shorter than most MCU movies, they could have put in some additional scenes to establish that once Jane got the power of Thor, became the mighty Thor, show her and Valkyrie going on some adventures, or at least if we want to keep Valkyrie in New Asgard, it's like, perfect, we have another hero now. Thor's off world. I'm here being king of New Asgard. Now we have another hero. Whenever there's something that's going on, I can sing you out. Show King Valkyrie, because we even saw when they were in Omnipotent City, Jane was like, King, whenever you're ready, I'm on your go. I'm ready to follow. So it's like Valkyrie's in charge. Jane is like, whenever you say go, I'm right behind you. So if we could have had some type of scene or saw some type of visuals establishing that, I think that would have just lent so much into, because the friendship that we've seen between Jane and Valkyrie is just, even in the brief moments that we saw, it was top notch. I love the friendship between those two. I wish we could have saw more.
Well, see, it's like, spoiler alert for Stranger Things, but it's like that's 2 days later bullshit. Like, it's just lazy writing.
Yeah.
That's called missed opportunity right there.
Yeah.
Which you're
lazy writing.
Right. It's one of those situations that you're not looking at your story very well at all, because this is what we want to see. I mean, we haven't really dove into Asgard as a whole since Thor 1. And you done move locations. These people lost their planet. Their planet. You're on another planet. You know what I mean? Like, I know it may not seem very wild, but how many people use the Rainbow Bridge? Does Odin let people leave? Can you go? I mean, he lets his wife leave, but does the citizens of Asgard have freedom to visit the other 9 rounds, or 10 rounds? I'm just curious. So the fact that they're on a whole nother planet, I would like to see. Give me a local kid and tell me how he's adjusting.
Right.
Let's talk about his mental health,
I feel like that could be like, that can make, I don't know if there's like a Valkyrie comics series, like, or a comic storyline, but I feel like we can basically, you can have a Disney Plus show for any character in an MC, basically. Why not have a King of Asgard Disney Plus show? A King Valkyrie Disney Plus show to show Valkyrie.
I would love that.
To show Valkyrie like dealing with New Asgard, the Asgardians in New Asgard, some of the problems that they're going through, adjusting to being, like you say, being on the new planet, adjusting to this new city, adjusting to all of this tourism stuff. Throw some action in there. There's some threats. There was a commercial in the UK for like Direct Line Insurance or something like that, where Valkyrie was beating up these like street thugs that were trying to rob a bank or something. And it's
really?
like, yeah. And it's just like some stuff like that. It's just like, I know it may, because all these Disney Plus shows are 6 episodes. I feel like they can take and have Valkyrie have a show for 6 episodes and just mix it in between the politics of being the king of New Asgard and then some action scenes of her actually like fighting as a Valkyrie. You could write some stuff up like that. And it's just, there's so much more to this character that we don't get to see, because there's been so much development since we
Especially
just
since
met
they
her.
cut that scene of her looking the sword.
Yes, which is a crime against humanity.
What?
Do you remember the scene in the trailer where they were in Omnipotent City, she was killing all of like the godly guards and everything, getting showered in the golden ichor or whatever they call it, the blood of the gods.
Yeah,
and she licked the sword. But she licked the sword, and it was like, I don't have words for the scene, but it was like, that was the scene. That was the scene that everybody wanted to see in the movie, and they cut that scene from the movie.
That's too dark for Disney, man.
Why put it in the trailer then?
Exactly.
Decapitations is what
Yeah,
we're going
decapitation.
to
Oh,
I can have that.
we can
That's
have
where we draw the
decapitations, but
line.
we can't show her licking the.
You can't lick.
We
You
can
can't
have
lick the sword.
we can have bare butts, but we can't have her looking the sword.
You can't lick. Do not lick your utensils. That's what that is.
That's probably why they took it out. Like the same thing with Lilo and Stitch, how they had to replace the
Yeah.
dryer.
Right.
Don't
Right,
encourage
yeah.
kids to lick the swords.
How many calories is gold blood? I'm just asking for a friend.
I mean, she didn't ingest a lot of it, so I don't think it would have been that bad.
I think I'm gonna put that into something. I like that idea.
But and I know we never really got off of gripes. But my last gripe was I know it was a comedy. It was a comedic movie, and I appreciate that. The jokes were top notch. Taika Waititi is great at directing comedy. Chris Hemsworth is great. The Van Damme split at the beginning at the big fight scene with him screaming at the bird creatures and everything. Anytime Thor just screams, just like, ah! It was just hilarious every single time. But I feel like there were times where they put in a joke where there didn't need to be a joke. There were times in the movie that, like, this is not a serious scene, but it's not supposed to be a funny scene. But then they just threw like comedic, because like when he found Sif and Sif had her arm chopped off, I felt like Sif was acting very out of character, because Sif has always been a very serious, very driven person. Even in Thor: The Dark World, when she came up to Loki, and she came up to Loki, she was like, "If you betray Thor, I will kill you." It was like very serious. Even in Loki, when they had Sif's portrayal, when Loki was stuck in that time loop, Sif was still a very serious character. And this portrayal of her when she's laying on the rock and she was like, "Leave me, I want to die," in Valhalla. And Thor was like, "Well, to do that, to go to Valhalla, you actually have to die in battle, but you survived. Maybe your arm is Valhalla." And then just the way she was like, shit, like it was unnecessarily comedic. I feel like that scene still could have been acted out perfectly without throwing those little jokey elements into it. And it was just a couple of other times in throughout the movie where I feel like they could have just taken some of the jokes out. The jokes that were in the movie were great, but there was some of them that you could have just taken out.
I understand. Some of them did feel forced, and some felt unearned.
Mm.
To do a joke, you got to do the setup. Now, here's what's killing: the jealous Stormbreaker killed it. That joke killed it.
That killed it. That was
throughout the duration, like when he was trying to pick up Mjolnir, and then Stormbreaker came out.
Hey, buddy, I was just calling you.
This what we doing? This what we doing here? You gotta get your hand. And it was so funny to see that throughout the whole movie. Some of the other jokes didn't kind of land where I thought they should. Here's a question that I have for Michelle. Michelle, if you'd be so obliged to answer this question for me. What did you think about the overall plot of the movie?
Overall plot?
Yes.
I thought it was pretty good because I know they wanted to do heavy on like the comedic stuff and all that. So I feel like for a comedy movie, it was a good plot. For an action movie, not so much.
Ooh. I like that.
I'm not saying it's a horrible plot for action movie. I'm just saying it definitely fit the comedic aspect more than it did the action.
There's no wrong answer here. We are just speaking our minds, and this is only our views and thoughts. A lot of people worked hard on this movie, and we're not saying it's a horrible movie.
Yeah.
You should go see it. There are just some things that we deep dive into as being.
Oh, like how Babe didn't like Groot sucking on the binoculars like he was a toddler.
It made no sense.
I needed more Guardians of the Galaxy. I know it's not their movie. But we haven't seen those guys.
I was like, I love Groot and his little attitude and his sassiness. And TJ goes,
Groot as well.
I don't like it.
No, it's that one scene. So Groot is supposed to be a teenager at this point. Why is he still acting like a toddler? That one scene
He's
made
like
no
a
sense.
cat. He has different attitudes. Diggle has an old man, a teenager, and a toddler, and it's whatever he feels like being. That's how Groot is.
Right. Baby Groot
That's the
sells,
only
buddy.
part that I didn't like. Because when
Here's the
when they
thing.
got into the ship,
He
and
was so
Kraglin,
sassy with it.
no, he was extremely sassy when Kraglin came back, and he was like, "Oh, you told me to stay with the ship. This is such and such. We're married now." And then Quill was telling him, "You can't get married on every planet we go to," and Groot was like, "I am Groot." Like, I love that part about it. That's the part that I like. But him gumming on a pair of binoculars like it's a teething toy, that part just didn't make sense to me.
Why aren't they looking for Gamora?
I don't know. I'm sure that in some right they are, but I know that didn't come out because Quill had a quick line when he was talking to Thor about, you know, about loss and how you can get over it. And so he was talking about, I found love and it sucks that was taken from me. And that was like the only brief mention that he had about Gamora. But no, I do. I it's like in me, I know that the Guardians of the Galaxy, they're looking for Gamora, but I know that I don't think that could have played a part into where they were going with Thor, because like we were talking about Thor finding himself.
I feel like they're saving that for maybe Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Yeah.
Didn't they say Tyler and James Gunn got together to kind of spin how they're going to have them spin off with it? I guess this was it, but because this is what we got. I'm just saying I would have wanted to get more of either adventures with the Guardians or possibly a better send-off than that. Because clearly when Thor brought them goats on, they were like, nah.
Yeah, sure, Tooth Grinder.
Nah, you about to stay right here with your screaming goats.
They have names. The goats have names, sir.
The names were Bye and Bye.
Snatcher and Tooth Grinder.
Guardians was like, nope, not doing this.
No,
and I understand.
I know that if this was like, because they call like the MCU community, of course, called them the Asgardians of the Galaxy. If this would have been like an Asgardians of the Galaxy movie, then yes, I would say that I would love to have seen them go on more adventures and kind of see that. But I feel like that could have been a different movie. But I feel like for what this movie was, and to introduce Gore the God Butcher and have them follow this storyline with the Mighty Thor and everything, I feel like the portions that we saw with the Guardians and how their sort of story was kind of narrated by Korg and him telling them about the Space Viking and how Thor like transitioned from where he was at in Endgame, like depressed, he put on weight, and how he jumped back from that into back to his fighting shape and actually going out and helping people. But we can still see like there were those scenes where the Guardians were fighting, but Thor was just kind of off on the side, just kind of unsure, didn't want to participate, was like still trying to find himself. I felt like that was for the story that they wanted to tell in this movie. I felt like the way that they explained it with the Guardians, I felt like that was, for me, that was enough. I saw that the Guardians were still fighting. Thor was just kind of like, I don't want to, not that I don't want to deal with it, but I have all of this stuff that's heavy on my mind. And I kind of loved it, and I didn't really understand it the first time I watched it, but when the second time I watched it, when they got the distress call from Sif, and Thor was like, I need to go help my friends. And Star-Lord was like, well, maybe we should split up because there's so many, there's so many distress calls. And he turns back and he looks at Thor, and Thor goes from standing like this, and he just went like that. It was like, that was a visual depiction of him like shutting down. It's like, I want to help my friends, but what I'm saying is like, you're not understanding, like, this is something that I need to do, but this is not something that you want to do. So it's like, it's kind of like masking almost, where you are putting on this face, you're being this like, I'm this mighty Thor, we're having these adventures, and like he's putting on this very brave appearance, but at the end of the day, he's still a broken person. And now he sees that one of his beloved friends is hurt and he wants to go and help them. But if he can't, then he's like, can I stand to lose another person? And so that's when we see like his body like physically just shut down. It's like everything else that was weighing on him, he just kind of put it aside, and then all of a sudden it all came back and it weighed down on him. And I think that was, so for me, that was like a perfect segue for him to go back to go and investigate what Gore was doing, and then which actually led him back to New Asgard, because we don't know how long he was, because they really give us no frame of reference as to when Jane, when we said Jane said that she found out that she got she got diagnosed with cancer about 6 months ago. So we don't know how long between her getting diagnosed to her starting the chemo treatments, her getting Mjolnir, to her actually, like, how long she's been in New Asgard as the mighty Thor to when Thor comes back. We don't know, because I don't know how long Gore was fighting these different killing these gods. So there's really no frame of reference as to how long this took. We just know.
Hey, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Wouldn't it have been nice to see that?
It would have been great to see that. It would have been great to see.
Okay. That's all I'm asking.
But I just think that if you're telling that story for Thor's benefit, I think that giving him more time with the Guardians and showing them going on adventures, I don't think that would have lent too much into the story that they were trying to tell.
No, you would have had a totally different story.
Yeah.
I think we just talked about like maybe 6 different stories all together.
Right.
That probably would have been more interesting than the story we got. But it is what it is, and that's what we got. And, you know, like all things, some people will love it, some people will hate it, and some people will say it's the greatest thing that they ever saw. I still stand alone and say Ragnarok was probably a better movie in comparison, if you want to compare it.
Yeah.
Because there was more development, I guess, more time. You had a whole new planet in Ragnarok. You never been to, what's it called? The trash planet? Sakaar. Never been to Sakaar before. But the world building of Sakaar, there's grand statues, there's grand master, and he has tech, and he's like a hologram in the arena, and he throws these games, and he's not a bad guy, but, you know, what do you say? Don't call them slaves. I hate that word. And you see, what did the lady say? The unpaid kidnapped kids?
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Okay, I said it wrong. I'm sorry.
Somebody will correct me in the comments.
Thank you for the correction. So what I'm saying is, you had world building in there, and then, you know, for the MCU heads like ourselves, you know, that's looking for this Beta Ray Bill, we wonder what's going on and why we can't get Beta Ray Bill. I mean, I understand you may want to introduce him in a different way. Clearly, you keep alluding to him that his head was in the statue, and Stormbreaker is actually his weapon, and now Stormbreaker was passed on again. Hey, here's the question. How many new Young Avengers are we going to get?
Is she even going to be a part of Young Avengers?
Oh, you bet your sweet, I can't say words.
Words are hard.
Sweet Spidey sense that she's going to be in the Young Avengers.
I mean,
here's the question: who's going to lead the Young Avengers?
You don't even know, because
Patriot, but
that's not even been introduced yet, which will probably be introduced at some point in Captain America 4, maybe.
Yeah, they just confirmed that one. But why not Spider-Man? He's done it in the comics.
Maybe he's the one with the most experience out of all of them.
He has the most experience. He does know all those guys. But then so does the general population right now.
Right, yeah.
Like everybody knows
he knows of a lot of them, but do they actually know him? That's the thing. Because right now they don't know that, but they don't know he's Peter Parker. They know Spider-Man, but they don't know he's Peter Parker. But
yeah, you actually
no. What I'm saying is that he knows. That's what I'm saying. He knows of some of the events. Like Peter knows Doctor Strange. He knew Iron Man. He had a very close-ish relationship with them. But you look at the other. Dude,
he was at the funeral.
Yeah, he was at the funeral, but
he knows everybody at the funeral.
How much? But they don't know. He was at the funeral as Peter Parker. They don't know Peter Parker anymore.
He knows them though.
Yeah, but he can't just go up to them like, "Hey, we met at Tony's funeral." Like, you weren't there. I don't know you.
Yeah, but he's in a Spider-Man disguise. You don't have to know. You just know that he was there. He's swinging from a tree somewhere. He knows them. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I mean, they are tree spiders.
That's neither.
The point of what I'm saying is, he can lead the young Avengers.
Tree spiders.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, but no. I agree with you in that sense that he could lead the young
trees.
Yes, there are spiders in trees. I don't know if they've ever been referred to as tree spiders. But
what do you want to call?
We're not talking about spiders right now.
There's actually a spider called a tree trunk spider.
There you go. So I think you should call it that.
It's not
a tree crab spider.
Yeah, but are they in a group of spiders called tree spiders?
Common lawn spinner tree spider. Orange tree spider.
Okay, I'm not saying that there aren't
giant
spiders.
Tree spider.
I need you to get your spiders.
I'm not
get
saying.
Your spider senses going.
I am not.
Oh, we in danger? Is the multiverse in danger? Oh my God, we lost Michelle in the multiverse again.
I'm not saying.
My internet's. I don't know. My computer's weird today.
I'm not saying
something going on.
That there aren't
use your spider sense.
It's Rogers. I'm blaming Rogers again.
He's just fucking shit up in the timelines. Now, is he gonna see Loki? This is weird to have a Thor movie without Loki. It just was. I'm sorry. I know he's dead.
I mean, they had fake Loki spritzing his face to appear sad in the beginning.
Goddamn Matt Damon. Matt Damon.
That was.
Oh my God.
That was hilarious. Matt Damon turned around with that.
Or they had it when Korg was narrating and saying how his brother, he lost his brother again and again and again. Yeah. We got the clips of Loki dying.
Yeah, but Tom Hiddleston brings such a passion to the Thor franchise. It's kind of like doing Fast and Furious without Vin Diesel. We've seen how that happened. So, nothing to take away from Thor. The movie it was big enough to hold all those names because.
But how would you explain? Because right now Loki is out of time. Last time we saw Loki was at the TVA, which is a place out of time and space. How do we explain? How do we explain in this story how Loki got from the TVA back to New Asgard, and to explain to him, to have him explain to Thor, "I'm not your Loki. I am a Loki out of time," and then unpack all of that and then incorporate into that. You can't include. You can't include Loki in that. No,
yes, you can.
You can't.
And I'm going to tell you how you
can't explain that away.
Yes, you can. Here, you ready?
I'm listening.
Post-credit scene. Post-credit scene. Loki shows up at the end. We already know Kane is coming. See, that's the thing. We're so disconnected. Start to tie it all in. Because if Loki would have came in at the end, even you make the movie you want to, but at the end, Loki comes in and start to be the Nick Fury and start to recruit because we got Kane coming. And he's doing some things in these universes that you wouldn't even believe. I need help, so I'm going to kind of watcher it and grab my brother and start to assemble a team to fight Kane. Unless you just got something else going on with these young Avengers that's going to fight Kane. I'm just saying. Get this opportunity to get Tom Hiddleston a check. I'm trying to get Tom paid.
I don't know. I don't think
I'm better than your agent, Tom. Call me.
Oh my God.
I don't know. I feel like that's it would have caused. And as a post credit scene, I can understand it, but I feel like that would leap so many properties because it would not only would leap Loki season 2, it also leap Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. And it's basically and I know he's out of time. There would be so much more that would have to happen before that post credit scene would actually pay off.
Where do you want Loki to pop up? He's out of time. He can pop up anywhere.
He can.
There's been speculation about him being in the background of Spider-Man: Far From Home. So where would you bring him? I mean, in a Thor movie, it seems so appropriate.
I don't know. I just think that he needs to continue his story in his own show and let him do that.
I understand, man. You guys are so unsharing with your storylines. I thought this was a multiverse.
I mean, this multiverse didn't come into play in this movie.
I thought it was a cinematic universe. I thought it was all connected.
It is a cinematic universe, and that's another thing that I didn't really care too much for. That there was outside of the Guardians, like Michelle and I were talking about the other day. Outside of the Guardians, there were no really other connections to the MCU as a whole. But I think, like to your credit, like we were saying about Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, if you didn't watch WandaVision, you don't really have that connection as to why Wanda is going on this tear trying to search the multiverse for these kids. If you didn't watch Loki, you wouldn't understand. Loki came back and said, Kang is coming. You know, they like the whole thing with Hulk crashing through the Sanctum Sanctorum, like Thanos is coming. You know, have Loki come back, it's like Kang is coming. If you didn't watch Loki, you wouldn't understand anything about that. It was like, well, I thought Loki was dead. I don't understand. Like, I know that Loki, like, if you've only watched MCU movies, you know that the Loki from 2012 got a hold of the Tesseract. He fucked off somewhere. If you didn't watch any of the Disney Plus shows, you don't know where that Loki went. And then for Loki to come back at the end of Thor and like, Kang is coming. And like, Kang is coming is like, as a person who only watches the MCU movies, they're like, I don't know who Kang is. I don't know where this Loki has been for the past however many years. I don't know what's going on. And I think that would have taken too many people out of the story of what happened in this Thor movie, where the post-credit scenes that we did have, with Zeus still being alive. Zeus now has vengeance in his heart. He wants Hercules to go after Thor, to go after Asgard. And then in the post-credit scene, well, yeah, the mid-credit scene was Zeus. The post-credit scene was Jane get into Valhalla. She saw Heimdall. She died as a god, so now she has eternal life in Valhalla. I think those were two post-credit scenes. Yeah.
Two things I want to bring up. I'm going to let you finish what you were saying, but two things I want to talk about since we're talking about death. Go ahead and finish.
No, okay. Well, no. I was just saying that those were two post-credit scenes that tied into the movie, and it propelled, at least the mid-credit scene with Zeus, propels us into what the next Thor movie is going to be about. Because, of course, at the end of the credits, we got Thor Will Return. So it's not that he's going to return in another ensemble movie, but he's going to return in his own another solo movie.
Which is fine, even though it goes against everything that Thor said he was going to do since Ragnarok, was to go out and find the Infinity Stones and see who was playing the game. We found that it was Thanos, and then he's trying to find it. So I got all of that. Here's the thing that I'm going to ask. Are we undermining the whole severity of the stakes because nobody is dying? And even though Thor grabbed the lightning bolt and ran it through Zeus because he thought he killed Korg, he didn't die. And it's like, no one's dying. Valkyrie got stabbed. She didn't die.
Right.
I thought Gore was going to stay alive. And honestly, I wanted more Gore. The person you killed was the wrong guy. I wanted more Gore story. And that's not to say because I'm black and I'm evil. I just would like to see him.
When did you make that connection? You know what? Moving on. We're not even going to unpack that. We're not going to touch on that. Go finish what you were saying.
Yeah, get back up and keep moving.
This is my therapy session. But we said it earlier. We wanted to see him like really do his thing and kill more guys.
Right.
That's what I was going with it. I mean, I'm just saying we
That's
wanted to see him
far
be
departed
more.
from.
Is
Go ahead.
it though?
Yes, it
Kinda
is.
is.
It really is.
It's all in your interpretation, I
A little
guess.
Okay.
What do y'all
But-
think about me? Oh my goodness.
We're not we're going off of what you said.
Oh my
I'm
god.
just saying, like they said, you just heard it wrong. I said it differently.
Did
Gotcha.
we though?
Anyway,
I'll figure it out when I'm editing the episode. But yeah, it's but no, and it's
let them go in the comments.
but we do have deaths. We have deaths.
Nobody died. Even
Jane
Jane
died.
that died, Jane did not die. She's in Valhalla.
But
Ron
that is
died
the
on her-
afterlife. That is death. She's not coming back.
She's dead.
Okay. So we're gonna sit here and pretend like we're not gonna bring these Valhalla people back to the land of the living to
You
fight.
cannot. No,
I
you
know,
cannot.
who's
That's
ever
not
brought
that,
back,
that's
he's up
not the way
there.
that it works. All those people that are in Valhalla, they are dead.
They're
They are
dead.
all dead.
They
They
will
can't come back.
fight
Otherwise,
again.
his son would have known how to do the special eye trick, but he doesn't know how to do
Yeah.
that. So,
They're gonna fight. If you think Valhalla is not
They're
gonna
not.
rise up in the Disney Plus show,
No, they're not. They can't. They are dead. That's heaven for them. They can't come back from that.
okay, so when Jane comes back as a mighty Thor in Secret Wars or Secret Invasion or something that's
coming
supposed to be a
I'm
secret,
telling you, she's
Okay.
not coming back.
Spider told me it's not a spoiler if it's a prediction and it comes true.
Mm-hmm.
I'm staying firm on this belief.
Okay.
You will see Jane Foster again later on.
we will hold this. They never said the mighty Thor will return. They said Thor will return.
I can't believe you sipping this Kool-Aid. You are crazy if you think that amazing actress Natalie Portman is not going to come back at some capacity.
No,
I mean, they're just
and
going to forget that she was Mighty Thor, just like they forgot she was in the Star Wars movies. It's going to slip their minds.
oh man. But
So, Spider,
yeah.
Thor, Love and Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
Is it super?
Yes. Yes. Thor Love and Thunder is super. Thor Love and Thunder is super. It's a good movie. It's a good movie. Like I said, you know, it's hard to. You have a movie like Thor Ragnarok, which was so refreshing. It was so well done, and you're following up to that, and everybody wants to capture that same lightning in the bottle because it was us to see, because we got these little sprinkles like throughout the Avengers, all of the Avengers movies, we got these little sprinkles of Thor having this sort of more comedic tone. And we finally get to see that come out fully in Thor Ragnarok. So people are like, yes, we love Thor being funny, but it was also a well-written story. And we wanted the same thing in Thor Love and Thunder. We got the funny, we got the comedy, but what we didn't get as much of was that heartfelt stuff. That we got that like at the very end. That's when we got the heart. And I think that and I don't know, maybe it's just our own expectations. Maybe it was just my expectations. I wasn't expecting
This
it
is
to
the
be.
MCU,
I
baby.
know
This
it
is
wasn't. I
pinnacle.
wasn't expecting it to be. I was expecting it to be an action comedy, not a comedy action. So, and it kind of like what we were talking about with the man from Toronto last week, and how the
What?
comedy.
I have very strong feelings against that movie and refuse to watch it.
Oh wow!
that's a different conversation. But how we were talking about it, and it was like that the action in that movie was great, but the comedy was
Michelle
just
from
like
Canada, for those who don't know.
yeah. So she has very strong feelings about Toronto. But the comedy itself was kind of misplaced, and we went through that at length. So if you want to know what we thought about the man from Toronto, go back, watch that episode, go back to listen to that episode. But for this one, like what I was saying before, it's just some of the comedy was misplaced in some areas. Which, not to say that the comedy was bad, because it was still good comedy, but sometimes it's just unnecessary comedy. All in all, still a good movie, still super. I still encourage everybody to go watch it.
Michelle, Thor,
It was
Love
super.
and Thunder.
Valkyrie was super. Groot was super. Bao, the god of dumplings, was super. Tooth Grinder and Tooth Gnasher were super.
Is that the dumplings from the Disney short?
That's what I was thinking.
It's I would
was
say it's
so-
not the exact same dumpling, but it's
was based off
they're god.
It's literally named the same.
Yeah.
It's named the same
Yeah.
thing. It's Bao.
No,
They're both named Bao.
yeah, I
That is
understand.
such
I
a
understand
good
that.
short.
But she ate him, so I wouldn't imagine that it's the same dumpling, unless she ate him and he died and he became a god.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. That's what I believe would happen.
Okay.
Did you
I'll leave it at that. I don't know anything. I don't know much about.
I don't know. I'm assuming what happens.
Would you eat your child that's manifested into a dumpling? Only because you don't want your child to get away? You want to hold on to your child that much? Like, if I eat you, you can't leave
Parents are
me.
like that. Some parents are like
Some
that.
parents aren't like that.
That's called cannibalism. And it is frowned upon in most countries. Not
It's
all.
frowned upon, but it still happens.
no, they even mentioned that in Thor because he's like, we're gonna leave, we're gonna come back with children, many children, and then we're gonna feast, but not feast on the children. We don't do that anymore. That was dark times.
Yup.
You want to be a space Viking, do you? Eat this baby. Is that the initiation? You got to eat a baby?
Hopefully
my
not.
God.
Hopefully Jane
This
didn't
is a
have.
Disney movie?
Hopefully Jane didn't have to eat a child to
Oh
become the
my
mighty Thor.
God. You missed the days of Mickey Mouse Steamboat Willie. Yep, they got Spider frozen. He can't even.
They actually show that Steamboat Willie clip during the Big Hero 6 animation show that they have right now.
Oh,
Diggle was
Baymax-
very entertained.
Baymax show.
Yes. Yes. Diggle was very entertained by Steamboat Mickey.
Oh, that.
Classic.
Well,
Listen,
Mr. VIP Frankie Washington, do you think that Thor Love and Thunder is super?
I think Thor Love and Thunder. I think a lot of people were taught on this movie. And it should be
saying that.
appreciated. Because it did.
Yeah,
Listen,
I
it takes a
understand
lot
that.
of. As you guys know, as an MCU fan, you sit and you wait till the post-credit scenes.
Okay,
Some
I do
people-
want to say
some
that
people
was the theater I was in. There was no one that left for once during the post credit, like during the credits and everything. Everyone sat in their seats until after both of them. I've never had that happen.
It is mandatory at that point for you to have a full idea what's going on. You are invested to stay at the post-credit scenes and the end-credit scenes. So, rightfully so, the credits go to who those deserve to. And you sit and you watch and you understand that it took a lot of people to make this movie. And I'm appreciative of these people as a fan to be able to watch somebody that I kind of like as a superhero go through his trials and tribulations of his story. So I am not shitting on this movie at all. As a fan, I think there were different ways that you could have gone, but you went the way that you chose to go. And this is the product of the decisions that you guys made. And we can sit here and we can say they should have did this and should have did that, but they didn't. And they made something, and I hope they're proud of it. I think they could have did better in some spots. And it's nothing against them. They did what they had to do to meet the deadlines that they could. But I don't know what ended up on the cutting room floor of
Apparently,
this could have
there's
made that.
enough footage to make a
lot.
4-hour film. They
Maybe we should have got that.
But Taika Waititi said that because a lot of what he did was he let them ad lib, he let them just kind of like just run with some jokes. So there's a lot of footage that they cut out with a lot of jokes, and then they're calling it the comedy cut. And so Taika said that he doesn't want to release the comedy cut because it was just like a lot of throwaway jokes, a lot of jokes that didn't necessarily land, something that didn't make sense. But of course, if you tell people that there's extra footage and there was like a different movie that could have been made, they were like, "Oh, we want to see it in the cut. We want to release it."
They will riot in the streets.
Right.
They would say release the Snyder cut, and look how that worked out.
Right. But at the end of the day, is it super? That's the question that we want to ask.
Well, hell, man, it's something to go see with your family.
It's something to go see.
There you
That sounds
go.
like a that sounds like a
God.
non-answer.
Uh-huh.
That's. I think you should go see it and make up your own mind if it's super or not. Let us know in the comment section.
I'm asking you, is it
That's all.
super? That's my question.
I feel. I died. Oh, look at this chair. For all those that are on audio, I leaned to the side and pointed to the chair. You should
Oh my
really
God.
watch the YouTube. You're missing so much.
I don't think they don't even know what that's in reference to. They don't know about the conversation about the chair. None of that made it into any episodes.
I've been literally talking about the chair the whole episode.
Right, but they don't know why you're talking about the chair.
Because I want you to look at it. Look at the chair.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Can't wait till we review Jordan Peele's movie. Nope. What?
What kind of transition is that?
We talk about transitions all the time on this show. What are you talking about? Jordan Peele has a new horror movie coming
Where
out
did that come from?
So
It's the mind of Mr. VIP Frankie Washington. It just pops up and he says it. No filter. You told him no spoil. You told him he can spoil. He just has no filter on right now.
Right, you did tell me I can.
I'm learning.
It's over.
Go
see
right now.
We're moving
I understand his logic. It works.
Number one movie in the world right now is Thor Love and Thunder. If you're not seeing it, then you're missing out. Chris Hemsworth does his thing. Christian Bale does his thing. Look, everybody.
If your girl doesn't watch Marvel movies or your guy or whatever, but they want to see his ass, tell him his ass is there. That'll get him to watch the movie.
Sun's out, guns out, baby. Go ahead.
That's how people got girls and stuff to go see Top Gun. Was the goddamn beach scenes in that?
There you go. It's $1 billion booty over there, Love and Thunder. This movie's gonna make $1 billion, and I can't wait till he claim that on his resume. So if you want $1 billion booty on the big screen, that's a lot of B's.
Well, we'll see how that turns out. But if you want to give us, number one movie in the world currently. If you want to give us your opinion on Thor: Love and Thunder, if you agree or disagree with anything that we've said on this episode, let us know in the comments. Tell us what you think. Tell us what your thoughts are. Or if you saw the movie, let us know what your favorite joke was, because there were a lot of them in the movie. But just leave us a comment. Let us know. But again, if you like this video, go ahead, click on that like button, subscribe to the channel, click on the bell so you can be notified when we have new episodes come out. But if you want the audio version, you can find us on most major podcast streaming platforms, and you can reach out to us by tweeting at us at ATSuperPod. Michelle, thank you so much for joining us this week. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Michelle. I want to sing the Canadian national anthem.
No.
I can't.
No.
God. I would love to see you try.
What was that movie you were talking about? The Canadian movie? Say it again. The Man from.
I don't remember.
You were just saying The Man from. The Kevin Hart movie.
That's just a movie.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Say it acceptably.
There is a right way and a wrong way to say Toronto.
Yes.
Just to let you know.
There's multiple right ways and a wrong way.
Did I say it wrong?
Just now you said it right.
Yeah.
Did I say it wrong earlier?
You said it wrong in an episode.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That was me. That was me. I probably did.
They said it wrong during the entire movie. No one said it right in the movie, which is why I refused to watch the movie.
They switch back and forth in the movie, actually.
What do you mean?
They said they and I didn't call you. Calm down. They in some scenes they said Toronto, and then in some scenes they said Toronto.
You never pronounce the second T, ever.
But they
It's either Toronto or Toronto. Those are the two ways.
Wouldn't that make the second T really lonely and feel like left out? Because
it doesn't matter. No one pronounces it. If you pronounce the second T in Toronto, you know you're not from Toronto. And when you have a movie called The Man from Toronto, and they don't say it right, you can tell not from Toronto.
It's just like anybody calling. It's like calling anybody saying that you're from New Orleans, but you're saying, "Oh yeah, I'm from New Orleans." Like no, that's not the way that you say it.
Except up here we have a city called Orleans, so.
But then you're not from New Orleans.
He's frozen. He said too much. This is why I have a filter that keeps me out of trouble.
See, and
they'll freeze you.
As much as
it's the freeze treatment.
See, all of the stuff that you're talking about with me being frozen, I may be frozen for you, but I am not frozen for the video. So,
what's that, God?
Oh my God.
Better be careful. They're killing gods around here.
Oh my God.
But
you guys keep calling gods. Nobody's coming. Gore killed them. There's no gods coming.
He didn't kill them all. There's still a lot. There were a lot of gods in
And they're having orgies. They're not coming down. They're at Zeus' house having orgies. Is this a Disney movie?
I am very glad.
Disney movie, right?
I am very glad that I did not get a question after that movie was done as to what's an orgy, because they said it like 5 times.
Well, I mean, he might already know.
Possibly.
He plays Fortnite. Like, come on. I'm sure it said.
Is that a Fortnite orgy?
We'll see you in the next episode, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us. We're not going to get into that conversation. And thanks to everybody for joining us.
Y'all didn't tell me shit.
Bye, everybody.